The small cafe was buzzing with the usual morning crowd. Sunlight streamed through the windows, making the wooden tables shine and the steam from freshly brewed coffee swirl in the air. The waitress moved gracefully among the tables, carrying trays filled with cups of coffee, plates of pastries, and sandwiches. Her smile was warm, and her eyes always noticed if someone needed anything. She had worked here for a few years, and everyone in the neighborhood recognized her cheerful face. Despite her busy day, she never seemed tired. She liked helping people even in small ways. Outside the cafe, the city was alive. Cars honked, people hurried along the sidewalks, and the smell of street food mingled with the morning air. She often glanced out the window while cleaning tables, watching the world move. That morning, she noticed an old man struggling to carry 2 large bags. He moved slowly, leaning on a cane, and every step seemed to require great effort. The bags were heavy, and he struggled to lift them over the curb. She frowned slightly, feeling concerned. He looked tired and cautious, almost as if he was careful not to disturb anyone or ask for help. She quickly set down a tray she was carrying and stepped outside. The cool breeze brushed her hair, and she called out softly, "Do you need some help with your bags?" The old man looked up, his eyes tired but kind. He hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Thank you, that would be very helpful," he said in a quiet voice. She smiled and moved closer, lifting one of the bags gently. The bag was heavier than it looked, and she felt a small strain in her arms. She balanced it carefully and asked, "Do you want me to carry both?" He shook his head. "Just this one. The other I can manage." He adjusted his cane and took a careful step. She followed him, holding the bag steadily, making sure he didn't lose his balance. The two of them walked slowly down the sidewalk, past the flower shop and the bakery, towards the small apartment building he lived in. Along the way, the old man told her about the neighborhood. He spoke softly about how the area had changed over the years, how some shops closed and new ones opened, and how the people were still friendly. She listened carefully, nodding and smiling. She liked hearing his stories. They were simple and honest, not the usual rush and noise of the city. He seemed grateful that someone cared enough to help him, and she felt happy that she could make his day easier. When they reached the building, the old man struggled to reach the stairs. She stepped forward, helping him carry the bag up a step at a time. She could feel the weight of the bag, but she ignored it. Her focus was entirely on him. Once they reached the door of his apartment, he thanked her again, his hands shaking slightly as he held the handle. "You are very kind," he said. "Not many people stop to help these days." She smiled, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "It's nothing, really. I just wanted to make it easier for you. Everyone needs a little help sometimes." He nodded, and she placed the bag gently on the floor inside his apartment. "Thank you, truly," he said again, his eyes soft but appreciative. She waved to him and stepped back outside. The morning sun felt warmer, and she took a deep breath, feeling good about the small difference she had made. As she walked back to the cafe, she noticed people looking at her with small smiles. Some customers waved, some nodded. It was a normal day, but something about helping the old man made her feel that the morning had been different from all the others. She returned to her work with a little more energy, serving coffee and pastries, cleaning tables, and chatting with the regular customers. The old man, meanwhile, went inside his apartment, carrying the smaller bag himself. He placed it carefully on the counter and sat down in his chair, looking out the window. He thought about the young waitress who had helped him. There was something genuine about her, a kind of warmth he hadn't seen in a long time. He remembered her face and the way she had carried the bag with care. It was rare to find someone so attentive, especially in such a busy city. Back in the cafe, the waitress continued her day. She served customers, refilled coffee cups, and made small talk. She didn't mention helping the old man to anyone. It wasn't something she wanted attention for. She just felt happy knowing she had made a small difference in someone's life. The morning went by quickly, with laughter, chatter, and the sound of coffee machines steaming. By the time the lunch crowd arrived, she had almost forgotten about the old man, absorbed in her work. But there was a lightness in her step, a feeling of satisfaction that stayed with her. It was not about recognition or reward. It was about doing the right thing. And sometimes she thought the smallest acts of kindness could mean the most. As the day went on, she looked out the window again, wondering if she would see the old man return. She didn't know it yet, but that small morning gesture would soon have consequences she could never have imagined. But for now, she focused on her customers, serving them with the same care and attention she had shown earlier. The cafe was warm, lively, and full of stories, and she was right in the middle of it all, making life a little brighter for everyone who came through the doors. The next morning, the cafe opened to the usual sounds of clinking cups, steaming coffee machines, and quiet chatter. The waitress arrived early, tying her apron and making sure everything was ready for the morning rush. She hummed softly while setting the tables and arranging pastries in neat rows. The sunlight streamed through the windows, just as it had the day before, and she felt the familiar excitement of another day serving people and making them feel welcome. As she polished the counter, she couldn't help but think about the old man from yesterday. The memory of helping him carry his heavy bag lingered in her mind. She wondered if he had reached home safely and if he had settled in comfortably. She smiled softly, shaking her head at herself. It was just a small act, yet somehow it felt important. The morning passed with the usual rhythm. Regular customers came in for their morning coffee and sandwiches, chatting about the weather, the news, or the little happenings in the neighborhood. She greeted each of them warmly, refilling cups, and taking orders with a cheerful smile. The cafe was lively, yet cozy, and she loved being in the middle of it, helping everyone have a pleasant start to their day. Around mid-morning, she noticed a few people lingering near the cafe window, glancing inside curiously. It was unusual, but she thought little of it. She returned to serving tables and arranging pastries, focusing on her work. Suddenly, the door opened, and in walked a man in a sharp suit, followed by 3 more men dressed in similar fashion. They had serious expressions and moved with precision. She paused, slightly confused, as they approached her counter. "Are you the young lady who helped Mr. Thompson yesterday?" The first man asked politely yet firmly. She blinked, taken aback. "Yes, that was me." He nodded and turned slightly to gesture for the others to stay back. "Mr. Thompson would like to see you. He's waiting outside." Her heart skipped a beat. She had not expected to see him again so soon, and she wondered why he had come back. Stepping outside cautiously, she saw the old man standing by a sleek black car, leaning on his cane, but with a gentle smile on his face. He looked at her with kind eyes, and there was a hint of excitement in his expression. "Good morning," he said softly. "I wanted to thank you properly for your kindness yesterday. Your help meant a great deal to me, more than I can explain." She felt a rush of warmth and modesty. "It was nothing, really. I'm just glad I could help." He gestured for her to come closer, and she did, feeling slightly nervous. The bodyguards stood a respectful distance away, watching everything carefully. "I don't often meet people as thoughtful and considerate as you," he continued. "In a world where everyone is busy with their own lives, it's rare to find someone who helps without expecting anything in return." She smiled, unsure how to respond. Her cheeks warmed, and she looked down at her hands. "I just did what I thought was right," she said quietly. "I didn't think it was anything special." He shook his head gently, his expression serious but kind. "To me, it was very special. Sometimes the smallest gestures carry the greatest meaning. You showed care and respect, and that's something I will never forget." As she listened to him speak, she noticed the world around her seemed to slow down. The bustling street, the honking cars, and the chatter of passers-by faded into the background. It was just her and the old man, connected by that single moment of kindness. She realized that even small actions could have a profound impact, and that thought made her feel a mixture of awe and humility. He paused, looking at her with a gentle intensity. "I would like to offer you something, not as a reward, but as a way to show my appreciation. Please, come with me for a moment." She hesitated, glancing at the bodyguards and the curious onlookers, but something in his eyes reassured her. She nodded, following him to the car. The man in the suit opened the door, and she stepped inside, heart pounding with a mix of excitement and nervousness. The car moved smoothly down the street, and she noticed the city passing by in a blur of colors and motion. They arrived at a quiet, elegant building a few minutes later. The old man led her inside, and she marveled at the quiet luxury of the place. It was tasteful and refined, yet not overwhelming. She realized he lived a life very different from her own. Yet he treated her with the same warmth and humility he had shown at the cafe. "Please have a seat," he said, guiding her to a comfortable chair. She sat, feeling slightly self-conscious, but he smiled reassuringly. "I wanted to invite you here to let you know that your kindness does not go unnoticed. There are not many people in this world who help others simply because it is the right thing to do. You are one of those rare individuals." She felt a lump in her throat and struggled to find words. I didn't do it for recognition. I just wanted to help." He nodded, understanding. "I know, and that is what makes it meaningful. Still, I want to show you that even small acts can bring unexpected outcomes. Kindness can open doors, create connections, and sometimes change lives in ways we cannot imagine." As she listened, she began to realize that this encounter was not just a thank you. It was a lesson in humanity, in the way that simple gestures ripple outward and touch lives in ways we may never fully see. She felt honored, humbled, and a little overwhelmed all at once. The old man continued to talk, sharing stories about his life, his work, and the people he had met over the years. She listened intently, fascinated by his experiences, but also reminded of the simplicity and honesty of her own life. It struck her that despite differences in wealth and status, human connection, empathy, and respect were universal. Everyone, regardless of background, valued genuine care and attention. After a while, he stood and smiled at her. "I wanted to bring you here to show you that your heart matters. The world often moves fast, but moments like these remind us of what is truly important. Your actions yesterday were more than a kind gesture. They were a reflection of who you are." She felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. She had never been praised in such a meaningful way. She had always tried to be kind, but it was rare to hear it acknowledged in such a deep and personal manner. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice soft but steady. "I'll never forget this." He nodded, and the moment felt timeless. The car ride back to the cafe was quiet, filled with thoughtful silence. She reflected on everything he had said, feeling a sense of growth and inspiration. The world suddenly seemed bigger, full of possibilities she had never considered, and she realized that her small act of kindness had sparked something far greater than she had imagined. Back at the cafe, the customers continued their day, oblivious to the extraordinary encounter that had just taken place. She returned to her work with renewed energy, serving coffee and pastries with the same warmth and attention as before, but now carrying a secret sense of connection and understanding that made every smile and greeting even more meaningful. She realized that sometimes life rewards people in ways they could never anticipate, and that the true value of kindness lies not in recognition, but in the impact it leaves on others. The rest of the day passed smoothly. The cafe was filled with laughter, conversation, and the familiar rhythm of daily life. She moved among the tables, her heart light and her spirit lifted. Even small gestures, she thought, can lead to extraordinary consequences, and one never knows how far a simple act of caring can reach. As the sun began to set, she cleaned the tables, stacked chairs, and prepared for the next day, feeling quietly proud of the person she was and the small but significant difference she had made in someone else's life. The following day, the cafe felt busier than usual. The morning sun filtered through the windows, and the familiar sounds of chatter, clinking cups, and the hiss of the coffee machines welcomed the waitress as she entered. She tied her apron tightly, adjusted her hair, and took a deep breath. Even though she had returned home late the previous evening, her mind still replayed the encounter with the old man. His words of appreciation and the unexpected ride had left a warm feeling in her heart, one she carried into her work. As she moved through the cafe, serving customers with her usual warmth, she noticed a few people glancing her way more than usual. Some whispered quietly to each other, while others smiled and nodded. She thought little of it, assuming it was simply the charm of a sunny morning and the bustle of the cafe. She focused on her customers, taking orders, refilling coffee cups, and making small talk that brightened their day. Despite the busy atmosphere, she felt a quiet excitement she couldn't quite explain. Around mid-morning, she glanced out the window and saw something that made her heart skip a beat. The old man was standing outside again, but this time he wasn't alone. 4 men, dressed sharply in suits, were with him. Their expressions were serious, their eyes scanning the surroundings as if they were on alert. The old man noticed her and waved gently, a small smile playing on his lips. Curious and slightly nervous, she stepped outside. The men behind him parted slightly, giving her space, their presence both impressive and intimidating. The old man's voice was calm and warm as he spoke. "Good morning. I hope I'm not disturbing you. I wanted to see you again, and these gentlemen are here to ensure everything goes smoothly." She nodded, feeling a mix of curiosity and hesitation. "Not at all. It's nice to see you again." The old man's smile widened. "I have something important to discuss with you. Yesterday you helped me without expecting anything. That act of kindness did not go unnoticed. I want to show you that compassion has its own rewards." She listened, intrigued but unsure what to expect. The presence of the 4 men added an air of seriousness to the moment, yet she felt no fear. There was a sense of purpose in the way the old man stood, a quiet confidence that drew her in. "Please come with me," he said, gesturing towards a sleek black car parked nearby. The men nodded politely, standing slightly back as she approached. She hesitated for a moment, then followed him, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervous anticipation. The car door opened, and she stepped inside, her heart pounding with curiosity about what was to come. As the car drove through the busy streets, she looked out the window, noticing the city pass by in a blur. Her mind wandered back to the cafe, the tables she had cleaned, the people she had served, and the small gestures that had made a difference in their day. She realized that kindness, no matter how small, had a ripple effect, touching lives in ways that were not always immediately visible. After a few minutes, they arrived at a large, elegant building. The architecture was impressive but tasteful, with a calm and serene atmosphere that contrasted sharply with the busy streets outside. The old man led her inside, and she marveled at the quiet elegance of the interior. Everything seemed well kept, organized, and inviting. Despite the luxury, there was a sense of warmth that made her feel at ease. "Please have a seat," the old man said, guiding her to a comfortable chair in a well-lit room. The bodyguards remained at a respectful distance, watching silently. She sat down, feeling a mix of awe and nervousness. The old man's presence was calming, and his voice carried a quiet authority that made her pay attention to every word. He began to speak about the importance of kindness and empathy. In life, we often measure success by wealth, power, or recognition, but true value lies in the way we treat others. Your actions yesterday were not only helpful to me but also a reflection of your character. In a world where so many people are focused on themselves, you chose to care for someone else. That is rare and precious. She listened, humbled by his words. She had never thought of her actions in such a profound way. She had simply wanted to help, to make someone's day a little easier. Yet here was a man, someone she barely knew, recognizing the depth of her intentions. It was both humbling and inspiring. He continued, explaining that he had seen many people come and go in his life, but few had left an impression like hers. "You remind me that genuine care can exist in the simplest of gestures. It does not matter if the act is small or large. What matters is the intention and the heart behind it. You have a heart that sees the needs of others and acts upon them without expecting anything in return. That is a gift." She felt tears prick at her eyes, a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. She had never received such thoughtful words, and it touched her deeply. "Thank you," she whispered. "I never expected anything like this. I just wanted to help." The old man nodded, understanding. "And that is what makes it meaningful. Your kindness opened a door that you may not have even realized existed. Life has a way of rewarding those who act with integrity and compassion. They spoke for some time, the old man sharing stories from his life, the lessons he had learned, and the people who had influenced him. She listened intently, absorbing every word, feeling a sense of connection and understanding that went beyond words. She realized that despite differences in age, wealth, and experience, the bond created by genuine care and respect was universal. At one point, he paused and looked directly at her. I want you to understand that your actions have meaning. You have the power to influence lives, to bring light into the world in ways you cannot always see. Never underestimate the value of a kind heart. She nodded, feeling the weight of his words settle in her mind. It was a lesson she would carry with her forever. She realized that life was full of unexpected moments, and that even the smallest gestures could lead to significant change. The encounter had given her a new perspective, one that made her appreciate the power of compassion and empathy. As they prepared to leave, the old man smiled and said, I hope you will continue to act with kindness, not for recognition or reward, but because it is the right thing to do. Your heart has shown that it understands the true meaning of giving. The car ride back to the cafe was quiet, filled with reflective silence. She thought about the impact of her actions, the connections she had made, and the lessons she had learned. By the time they arrived, she felt a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of the significance of everyday kindness. Back at the cafe, she resumed her work, serving customers with the same warmth and attention as before. But now, there was a new light in her eyes, a quiet confidence that came from knowing that her heart and actions truly mattered. She realized that life often rewards those who act with integrity and compassion, even if the rewards come in ways they cannot immediately see. The rest of the day passed with the familiar rhythm of the cafe. Customers came and went, conversations flowed, and laughter filled the air. She moved among the tables with grace and attentiveness, her mind reflecting on the extraordinary encounter with the old man and his team. The lessons of the morning stayed with her, reminding her that every act of kindness, no matter how small, could ripple outward and touch lives in ways that were impossible to predict. As evening approached and the cafe began to quiet down, she cleaned the tables, stacked the chairs, and prepared for the next day. Her heart felt full, her spirit lifted, and her mind alive with thoughts of possibility and hope. She understood that life was full of surprises, and that the simple act of helping someone, of showing genuine care, could open doors to experiences and connections beyond her imagination. The day ended with a sense of fulfillment, and she went home with a heart ready for whatever tomorrow might bring. The morning was quiet and calm, with a soft light filtering through the cafe windows. The waitress arrived earlier than usual, feeling a mix of excitement and curiosity. The events of the previous days still lingered in her mind. The memory of helping the old man, the unexpected ride, and the meaningful conversation had left a mark on her. She wondered if today would be just like any other day or if something new was about to unfold. As she prepared the cafe, arranging tables, refilling sugar containers, and checking the coffee machines, she noticed the quiet buzz of anticipation among the regular customers. Some whispered softly to each other, stealing glances her way, and she felt a strange mix of curiosity and unease. The morning rush began as usual, with people coming in for their coffee, breakfast sandwiches, and pastries. She greeted each of them with her warm smile, taking orders, serving drinks, and sharing friendly conversations. Suddenly, the door opened, and she froze for a moment. The old man walked in, accompanied by the four men in suits. They moved with quiet precision, their presence commanding attention without saying a word. The old man smiled at her, and she felt a rush of warmth and recognition. Her heart beat a little faster as she approached them. "Good morning," he said softly. "I hope I'm not disturbing you." She shook her head. "Not at all. It's wonderful to see you again." He nodded, and the bodyguards stepped back slightly, giving space as he looked around the cafe. The customers seemed intrigued, some whispering quietly, others watching curiously. The waitress felt a mix of nervousness and excitement, unsure of what to expect. She had no idea why he had returned, and the presence of the men added a sense of gravity to the moment. The old man gestured toward her. "I wanted to thank you properly for your kindness. What you did for me was more than a simple gesture. It reflected the goodness in your heart. That is something I have rarely seen, and I want to make sure you understand how much it means to me." She listened intently, feeling a mix of humility and gratitude. "It was nothing. I just wanted to help," she said softly. "I never expected anything in return." He smiled, his eyes kind and steady. "And that is why it was meaningful. Kindness given freely without expectation has a power that cannot be measured. You have reminded me of that power, and I want to show you that it can lead to something wonderful." The old man looked around the cafe, making sure the bodyguards were positioned respectfully but attentively. "I would like you to come with me for a short walk. There is someone I want you to meet, someone who can offer guidance and opportunities that may change your life in ways you have never imagined." She hesitated, glancing at the customers and the curious onlookers, but the warmth and sincerity in his eyes reassured her. She nodded and followed him outside. The men in suits fell into a protective formation around them, walking a few steps behind. The streets were busy with morning traffic and the sounds of the city, but her attention was focused entirely on the old man. They reached a black car parked nearby, and he opened the door for her. She stepped inside, her hands slightly trembling with anticipation. The car moved smoothly through the streets, and she watched the city pass by, noticing the life and energy of people rushing about their day. Her thoughts wandered back to the cafe, the regular customers, and the simple joys of her daily routine. Yet, she felt that today would be different, that something extraordinary was about to happen. After a short drive, they arrived at a tall, elegant building. The architecture was impressive, with clean lines and a serene atmosphere. She could feel the weight of expectation and curiosity building within her. The old man led her inside, and she marveled at the quiet elegance and attention to detail. Everything seemed carefully designed, yet welcoming, as if the space itself carried a sense of calm and purpose. Inside, they entered a room where several people were waiting. The old man introduced her to a few individuals, explaining that they were here to offer guidance and support. Their expressions were friendly and encouraging, and she felt a sense of calm wash over her. She realized that this visit was not just about recognition. It was about opening doors to possibilities she had never considered. The old man spoke gently, yet with authority. "You have shown a rare quality, a heart that cares for others without expectation. This is the foundation of character, and it is something that can lead to great opportunities. I want you to understand that your actions have power and meaning. The kindness you show in small moments can shape your future in ways you cannot yet see." She listened carefully, feeling both humbled and inspired. The words resonated deeply, making her realize that her everyday actions, however small, could have a profound impact. She had always believed in helping others, but now she understood that it was not only an act of generosity, but also a reflection of her own strength and character. Throughout the meeting, the old man emphasized the importance of integrity, empathy, and genuine care for others. He explained that the world often values wealth, power, and recognition, but true success lies in the ability to touch lives and create positive change through kindness and understanding. She felt a sense of clarity and purpose growing within her, a newfound understanding of the significance of her own actions. After the meeting, they returned to the car. The bodyguards remained attentive but unobtrusive, and the old man spoke softly to her during the ride back. "Remember, the path of kindness is not always easy, but it is the most rewarding. Continue to act with compassion and integrity, and life will present opportunities that will help you grow and make a difference in the world." She nodded, absorbing his words and feeling a sense of determination and hope. The car arrived back at the cafe, and she stepped out, her heart full and her mind buzzing with thoughts of possibility. The old man waved, and she waved back, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and connection. Back inside the cafe, she resumed her work with renewed energy and focus. Every interaction with customers, every cup of coffee served, and every small conversation carried a new meaning. She realized that her life could be shaped not just by her actions within the cafe, but by the choices she made every day to act with kindness, patience, and understanding. As the day progressed, she reflected on the extraordinary events that had unfolded. The old man's words and actions had shown her that life had unexpected moments that could transform her path. She understood that her small acts of kindness, performed without expectation, had the power to influence not only her own life but the lives of those around her. Even as the cafe bustled with customers, she felt a quiet sense of purpose. Every smile, every word of encouragement, every small gesture of help carried weight and meaning. She moved through the space with grace and attentiveness, aware of the impact she could have on those she served. The ordinary moments of her day now felt extraordinary, filled with potential and possibility. As evening approached and the cafe began to quiet down, she cleaned the tables, organized the chairs, and prepared for the next day. Her thoughts lingered on the lessons she had learned and the connections she had made. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that her kindness had been recognized and that it had the power to open doors she had never imagined. The day ended with a sense of quiet joy and anticipation for the future. She left the cafe, walking home with a light heart and a mind full of hope. She understood that life was full of surprises and opportunities, and that the simple act of helping someone, of showing genuine care and compassion, could lead to experiences and connections beyond her imagination. She felt ready to face whatever tomorrow might bring, carrying with her the knowledge that kindness, no matter how small, could change the course of a life. The next morning, the cafe felt unusually calm. Sunlight poured gently through the windows, highlighting the polished wooden tables and the steam rising from freshly brewed coffee. The waitress arrived early, tying her apron and arranging pastries with care. Her mind wandered to the events of the past few days. The encounter with the old man, the meaningful conversations, and the unexpected ride had left a lasting impression on her. She felt a mixture of excitement and curiosity, wondering if today would bring another unexpected moment. As the cafe began to fill with the morning crowd, she moved gracefully among the tables, serving coffee, refilling cups, and taking orders. Her attention to detail and warmth made customers feel welcomed, and many smiled at her friendly demeanor. Despite the busy atmosphere, she carried a quiet confidence, knowing that her small acts of kindness could ripple out and touch lives in ways she could not yet imagine. Suddenly, the door opened, and the old man stepped inside once again. The four men in suits accompanied him, their presence commanding attention yet remaining respectful. She felt a rush of anticipation as she approached them, unsure of what to expect this time. The old man smiled warmly at her, and she felt a sense of recognition and connection. "Good morning," he said softly. "I hope I am not interrupting your day." "Not at all," she replied, her voice steady despite the excitement she felt. "It's wonderful to see you again." He nodded, looking around the cafe. "I wanted to bring someone important to meet you today, someone who can offer guidance and opportunities. But more than that, I wanted to ensure that you understand how meaningful your actions have been. Your kindness, patience, and compassion have not gone unnoticed." She listened, humbled and slightly overwhelmed. "I never expected anything in return," she said softly. "I just wanted to help." He smiled, his eyes kind. "And that is what makes your actions remarkable. True kindness is given freely, without expectation. It has the power to transform lives and create opportunities that are often unimaginable." The old man gestured for her to follow him. Outside, the car awaited, and she stepped inside, feeling a mixture of curiosity and anticipation. The drive was quiet, and as the city passed by, she reflected on her life, the cafe, and the countless small moments that made her days meaningful. Yet, she sensed that today would bring something extraordinary, a turning point she had never anticipated. After a short ride, they arrived at a grand but elegant building. The architecture was impressive yet welcoming, conveying both strength and serenity. Inside, the atmosphere was calm and purposeful, a stark contrast to the busy streets outside. The old man led her through the halls, explaining that she was about to meet individuals who could provide guidance and help shape her future. She felt a mix of excitement and nervousness, unsure of what awaited her. They entered a large room where a few people were waiting. The old man introduced her to them, explaining that they were here to offer mentorship and opportunities based on her qualities of compassion, integrity, and thoughtfulness. The individuals greeted her warmly, and she immediately felt a sense of comfort and encouragement. Their expressions were kind and genuine, reflecting a desire to help and support her growth. "Your actions have shown a rare quality," the old man began, addressing both her and the group. "In a world where many prioritize personal gain, this young woman has demonstrated selflessness and genuine care for others. That is a strength that deserves recognition and opportunity." She listened, humbled and a little shy. She had never sought recognition or reward for her actions, and the attention made her heart race. Yet, she realized that this moment was not about praise alone. It was about the power of her actions to create change and open doors for herself and others. The old man continued, sharing stories of people who had touched his life and how small acts of kindness had created unexpected outcomes. He spoke about the importance of empathy, understanding, and acting with integrity, emphasizing that these qualities could guide her toward a fulfilling and meaningful life. She absorbed every word, feeling inspired and motivated to continue acting with compassion in all areas of her life. One of the mentors spoke next, explaining that the world was full of opportunities for those willing to act with heart and courage. They offered guidance, practical advice, and encouragement, helping her understand how her unique qualities could be applied to create meaningful change. She realized that her simple acts of kindness at the cafe were only the beginning of a journey that could extend far beyond what she had ever imagined. The old man smiled at her, his eyes reflecting warmth and pride. "Remember, the path of kindness is not always easy, but it is the most rewarding. Your actions have power, and your heart has already made a difference. Continue to act with compassion, and life will present opportunities to grow, help others, and create positive change." She nodded, feeling a deep sense of understanding and purpose. She realized that life was filled with moments of choice, and the decisions she made, even in small gestures, could shape her path and the lives of those around her. The encounter had taught her the value of empathy, patience, and the quiet strength of a compassionate heart. After the meeting, they returned to the cafe. The bodyguards remained at a respectful distance, ensuring safety without intruding. The old man spoke softly to her during the ride back, reiterating the importance of integrity and kindness in daily life. She listened, absorbing every word, and felt a renewed sense of confidence and determination. Back at the cafe, she resumed her work with renewed energy and focus. Every interaction with customers, every cup of coffee served, and every small conversation carried new meaning. She understood that her actions had the potential to influence lives, not only in the moment but in ways that could create lasting impact. Her awareness of the power of kindness gave her a quiet strength and purpose that touched every aspect of her work. The cafe bustled with the afternoon crowd, and she moved gracefully among the tables, serving and interacting with customers. Each smile, each word of encouragement, each small act of help felt amplified by the lessons she had learned. She realized that life was full of extraordinary possibilities hidden within ordinary moments, and that every choice to act with care and compassion mattered. As evening approached, the cafe began to quiet down. She cleaned the tables, stacked chairs, and prepared for the next day, reflecting on the journey she had experienced. The events with the old man, his mentors, and the bodyguards had opened her eyes to a world of possibilities she had never imagined. She understood that her simple acts of kindness had created ripples, touching lives in ways that extended far beyond her own experience. The day ended with a sense of fulfillment and hope. She walked home with a light heart and a mind full of reflection and anticipation. She understood that life was full of surprises, and that even the smallest acts of genuine care could lead to opportunities, connections, and experiences beyond imagination. She felt ready to embrace whatever came next, carrying the knowledge that her heart, her compassion, and her actions truly mattered. That night, she reflected on everything that had happened. The old man's words, the guidance of the mentors, and the support of those who recognized her kindness had left an indelible mark. She understood that the world was vast, full of challenges and possibilities, and that her actions had the power to shape her future and the lives of others. She felt a quiet determination to continue acting with empathy, integrity, and warmth, knowing that the true value of kindness lay not in recognition but in the difference it made. The story of the waitress and the old man was not just about a single act of help. It was about the journey of understanding the power of compassion, the impact of integrity, and the potential within every small gesture. She had learned that life rewards those who act with a pure heart, and that even ordinary moments could carry extraordinary significance. With this knowledge, she felt empowered to face the world with courage, kindness, and hope, ready to continue making a difference, one small act at a time.